All right, good afternoon, class, and welcome to week number two. That is right, week number two of your 9410 class, which is your seminar in cultural heritage class. As always, I am your professor, Dr. Jace K. Austin, and today we are going to do a quick state of the course update, and then we are going to talk about two common mistakes in APA citation that I want you all to look out for and avoid, because I will be checking for these when I grade your papers. First things first, I do want to note that when I say that I will be checking for these things for your these APA citation errors, I'll be looking for them in your papers. I am talking about the Four Heritages paper, the Visit to a Cultural Heritage Site paper, and then if you do a final paper, I'll be checking for that. However, I am not going to be cutting. I am not going to be counting off for this in your discussion board post, so don't worry about that. I do need you to cite your sources in your discussion board post, but I'm not going to be looking for formal correct APA style in your discussion board stuff. That's just going to stress you out. There's no need for me to stress you out with that. But yes, for your written papers that you're going to turn in, I will be looking for it there. So that is a clarification. So first of all, state of the course update here. And the state of the course is that you all are doing great. So far, so good. Of course, you have only had one completed discussion board prompt so far, and those are introductions, so it's kind of hard to foul up your introductions. However, from what I am seeing with the week two preservation concerns posts so far, they are looking good. So if you are wondering what I am looking for with the content of your discussion board posts, the first two discussion board posts that I've got, I think they were from Laura and let me see who else. All right, Laura and Kimberly. So I am not going to actually show their names on the video just because I have had an incident in a previous course where unfortunately one of my students actually had a stalker, and so they needed their name blotted out when their name was put on a video. So I am not actually going to show their posts. But Laura and Kimberly had the first two posts on the week two discussion board, and those were absolutely perfect as far as what I'm looking for, the type of effort, the type of content, and the type of formatting, all of that I'm looking for. They did an absolutely perfect job. So if you are looking for some guidance as to, or some examples as to how to do your discussion boards properly, especially for this week, Laura and Kimberly have given you great examples, and if you do something to that level, you're going to be absolutely fine. And I do hope that you will be able to make some time to look at some of the posts that your classmates put up, because there are some very interesting things to learn. And that's one of the greatest things about this course, in my opinion, is that I give you all plenty of opportunities to learn from your classmates. And yeah, I think that with the discussion board posts that we've seen already, it looks like there is some great fodder for things to learn about the history. Kimberly's post does something about the history of Missouri, and I saw some responses to it that show that, oh yes, this was very interesting to some other people who are from the state of Missouri. So yeah, definitely put those posts up. Respond to at least one classmate in order to get both points, but also, take that opportunity to learn, to embrace what is around you, to think of some opportunities that you might have. You might see something in these discussion boards that you might want to visit one day. And so take a mental note of it. And if you go visit the town that you see, or if you drive through the town that you see somebody has posted something about, you might have the opportunity to stop in and, just look at the heritage resource that they are speaking of. So that's really the only thing that I need to do for the state of the course update. Pretty much everybody did the first discussion board prompt, the introduction. So I'm not worried about you all missing discussion board posts as of yet. I'm not worried about any sort of slacking behavior as of right now, because you all have shown, at least so far, to be responsible. So now that we've gotten that out of the way, let's go ahead and take a look at 2 common APA mistakes. All right, and we should be able to get through this in no longer than 15 minutes, so this will be about a 20-minute video. Dr. Jace always wants to keep the videos at 20 minutes, but usually he does not succeed in doing that. However, in this case, I think that we are going to keep this video at 20 minutes or less. By the way, I hope you have sped it up. But here are and also, by the way, so if you've had me before, then you've heard me talk about this before, so you're not going to learn anything new. If you've had me before and you're already aware of these 2 common APA mistakes. So if you've had me before, or you think you already know what I'm about to say, you can go ahead and shut the video off, because from here on out, it's not going to do you any good to watch any further. This is for people who don't know a lot about APA, who have not had me before, that sort of thing. All right, so here we go. The first common APA mistake that I have students commit a lot is that they do not initialize the first and middle names of the authors or editors if they have them, and that is something that you do need to do. So if you have my full name, for instance, my full name, my government name is Jason Kelly Austin, and hopefully nobody's going to steal my identity or something like that from this class. But if you had a publication that I did and my name was listed on the publication, Jason Kelly Austin, you would still not put Austin, comma, Jason Kelly. You would not do that. What you would do is you would put Austin, comma, J period, space, K period. So please make sure that you do that correctly. As you're going to see in all of these examples, they do not write out the full first and middle names. They only write out the surnames fully. And so that's something that you need to be aware of, and that's something you need to do when you are using APA. Do not put the first and middle names. If I see that, I am going to deduct points. Again, and that's for your formal papers, not for your discussion board prompts. All right, and so the second very common APA error that I'm going to be looking for and trying to make sure that you all do this appropriately is that there is a funny little nuance. Maybe I shouldn't say funny, but there is a peculiar little nuance to how things are capitalized in your APA references list. This is for the references list specifically, not for in-text citations and not for your regular prose in your paper. This is specifically for the reference list. But what happens with APA is that for titles of the work, and we're going to look at web pages, books, and periodical articles. We're starting with books here. What you have is a situation where you don't use the standard capitalization that you would normally use with titles. So here's what you would do, and I'm going to have an attachment on this announcement to kind of help you all out with this. So what you would do is you would, for like, let's say you're focusing on a book at this point, what you would do is you would capitalize the first word of the title, the first word of the subtitle, and then any proper nouns, any names. So you see that here, and you see an example here. In the Works Cited page, a new companion to Mallory, the only words that are capitalized are A, because it is the first word of the title, and Mallory because it is a proper noun. And we can see another example of that down here. Writing your journal article in 12 weeks, a guide to academic publishing success. Notice that all of these words are lowercase except for the first word of the title, the first word of the subtitle, and if there were proper nouns in here, then those proper nouns would be capitalized as well. And again, I am going to put a, excerpt from the APA style guide in as an attachment to this to this announcement so that you all can kind of see what I'm talking about there, how the actual APA style guide labels this and calls it out. So yes, I want you all to be aware of this because, quite frankly, as a librarian, you do need to have at least some competency in citation styles. Thankfully, a lot of academic libraries these days are actually having citation become a burden of the writing center and not the library. So that's good news for us librarians, because a lot of times we are just not proficient in citation styles to the point where we can actually give students advice on or clear guidance on how to use them. But a lot of times it still will be up to us to get the students started, to maybe give a paper a look over. In the public libraries, a lot of times anything goes, and in the school libraries, it can just vary from school to school. So yes, it is definitely the case that you are going to want to have some competency with APA, MLA, and Chicago, because you are going to see those styles, and it won't hurt you to be able to just recognize errors and try to guide students by saying, well, I don't believe this is appropriate, and you may want to get some help from a writing tutor or look at this resource to double check your citations. Or if you're in an academic library that works for a college that has a writing center, then you can say you may want to go to the writing center and have them look over your citations. Okay, so this is why I'm bringing this up, and why I am being particular about it is because I'm trying to get you all in the habit of being detail oriented and knowing how to actually follow a style guide for a citation style, because that is actually a skill that needs to be acquired. It is not something that is it's not something that you're going to have in your arsenal at birth. Okay, so yeah, that's how things are handled with books. And you will also see that with books you will italicize the title as well. Now let's go to periodicals so that you can kind of see how things may be a little different there as far as the italices anyway. So with your periodicals, whether they are journals or magazines or newspaper articles, it is pretty much the same thing as far as when you are doing an article. Now, this is what's important here. You will follow this capitalization format for the title of the article, but not for the title of the periodical, if that makes sense. So if you've got an article from the New York Times, you are going to do your standard capitalization for New York Times, but for the article title in the New York Times, you are going to have to again use this capitalization scheme that APA has. So again, let's look at an example. Article in a print journal. R. Scruton, you see the eclipse of listening. This is the article title here, the eclipse of listening. And as you can see, D is the only word that is capitalized. Eclipse is not, listening is not, of is not. However, this is the name of the journal, the New Criterion. And as you can see, the article, the title of the journal is italicized, but the title of the article is not. And then also you will see that the title of the journal does have the standard capitalization that you would find in regular English, where every word or every significant word is capitalized. But you will see that for the article title, they do have lowercase, except for the first word in the title, the first word in the subtitle, and any proper nouns. And so you'll see a similar thing going on here. This is another example. You see that data is capitalized. You see that negotiating is capitalized, but you see that all of these other words are lowercase. Okay, so that is how that works there. And then one other thing that we will look at is we are going to go ahead and look at web pages. So electronic sources here. Okay. So what you'll find here is that, again, when you are looking at an actual web page, you are going to capitalize the first word of the title, the first word of the subtitle, and any common not common nouns, any proper nouns. We've got an example here from Budget Bytes, Tuscan white bean pasta. That is the name of the web page, and you will see also the web page is italicized. And the site name is not. So Budget Bytes is the site name. That is not that is not italicized, but Tuscan white bean pasta is italicized, and you will see Tuscan is capitalized, but white bean and pasta are not. Let's find another one here. Okay. All right, so this, the reason I wanted to scroll down was because, yeah, another site name here. I just wanted you all to see the New Yorker is all, it is all capitalized, because it's the site name and not the page title. However, the thing with the New Yorker is, you could argue that New Yorker would be capitalized the same way that American would be capitalized. So that kind of steals my thunder a little bit there. But hopefully that makes sense. And if it doesn't make sense, and if you do want somebody to kind of just look over your citations, then what you can do is the writing lab will look over your citations. And what you can do is you can just Google, you'll need to give them, you will need to give them some time. So I wouldn't recommend just doing this on the day that your paper is due. But the online writery, if you needed to submit something to them, you can definitely do so, and they can look over your citations for you. A few other things that I want to say related to citations is that even if you are using Zotero or another type of citation software, look over your citations, because Zotero does not get it right all of the time. And then also those automatically populating citations that you can get in the databases, the sample citations that they generate for you in the database. If you click the cite option, those are only right 80% of the time. And 80% might sound good, but that does mean that if you have 10 sources, there's a good chance that 2 of them are incorrect. Okay. Nobody checks those. A computer just generates those, and then nobody checks to make sure they're correct. So make sure that if you are copying citations from Zotero, or if you're copying them from the database, that you look over those and that you check and make sure that they are correct. All right, and that is going to do it. Again, I know I probably spoke really, really slow on that. I felt like I was speaking slow, so I hope you sped it up. But we are still keeping this one under 20 minutes, so let's go ahead and peace out right now. I am Dr. Jace. If you are going out due to the pandemic still, please keep a mask over your face. I am Dr. Jace. Peace out. See you next week.